I have been doing Bharatanatyam now for 19 years, so I have been practicing that since I was little in Canada actually. So I started learning Bharatanatyam at the age of 5 or 6. And since then I've kind of developed a deeper understanding of my culture through dance. And with that, I decided to go to India, actually for the first time, specifically for dance in 2015 actually, to do a dance graduation where I worked under my teacher's teacher to do a dance graduation. And since then, I've kept on learning and I kept on developing and deepening my understanding of Indian classical dance and Bharatanatyam. And recently, after 8 years after completing my graduation, I had the opportunity with CSAS to go back after a really long time and now go back to focus on my thesis. So my thesis is called Surya, the sun, the source of light. So I made a production in India, and we've been composing music and working with a whole group of people to be doing this project. And it's going to be my dance thesis in March next semester. Alright, and before I start talking a little bit more about my project, I just wanted to say thank you to the Watumull family for helping me have this opportunity, and CSAS for always helping me out and giving their continued support in my project. I would also like to thank my gurus and the UHM dance faculty for always supporting my dreams and making sure they do come true, and my family, friends, and any supporters who've helped me along the way. So, as I said, my project is going to be a 20-minute dance production in the Pandanadu Bani, so which is the style of Bharatanatyam I'll be doing my production in. So Bharatanatyam was originally called Devadasi Atam, and this was a dance that got banned. There was a temple dance that was banned for a long period of time, and it got brought back as a performative form of Bharatanatyam. So I'm hoping to bring these old traditions that were brought back and these traditional old movements into the dance production that I'm going to bring. So I'm bringing a lot of things from old Vedic scriptures, stotrams, and chants, and I'm trying to create movement from those in this upcoming production. And so just to talk a little bit more about the concept, I'm actually going to read to you a little bit of the excerpt that I have that I'm going to be putting into my production. So I'm going to read this to you now so you get a little detail about what my piece is about. So, Om Suryaya Namaha. The sun, the dispeller of darkness, was created in the center of our solar system over 4.6 billion years ago. A sphere heated to emit light by nuclear fusion reactions to the core. Surya, the god of the sun, is considered the creator of the universe and origin to all life, an energy bringing light and warmth to the world. Surya travels across the sky in a golden chariot pulled by the 7 horses that represent the prismatic colors of the splitting sunlight. Humans are ignited by the light, but are dependent on the cause and effect of desires. The sun is omnipresent with luminescence, holding intelligence and wisdom to help us let go and attain this light. The sun is detached and continues to rise, consistent with pure energy. Even through wars and obstacles, the sun will give you courage to prevail. This is Surya, the source of light. So this is kind of the introduction that I'm going to be having for the production, and this is kind of an abstract way of kind of talking about the 20 minutes of the dance that I have. And purpose and significance. So the main reason why I wanted to create this production without fusing it with different forms or trying to incorporate all the different types of styles I used is I really wanted to help preserve the traditions of this old form. A lot of times when I tell people I'm a Bharatanatyam dancer, they immediately think I'm a cinematic dancer or a Bollywood dancer. So it's already hard to kind of talk about this information without others having that understanding. So I really wanted to help preserve the traditions of this old form and kind of really give them a chance to be on stage, especially at a university doing a cultural thesis. It takes a lot of work, but I'm really excited to move forward with it. And it's mainly to promote classical Indian arts in Western regions, specifically Anglophone speaking regions, because as I said, a lot of people are not aware of what kind of classical forms are there. India has 8 classical forms, and this is just one of them. So just introducing this at a university level and just trying to showcase that on stage, I think it would be a good way to not just show the UH community, but also community members in Hawaii and North America, as I plan to take this piece in other regions of the US and also to Canada as well. And yeah, so just to represent this art like without the fuse of other forms. Just I wanted to show this art to the best that I know it and the purest way that I can, present this work. And just to talk a little bit about what I did while I was in India. So I had the opportunity to work with a vocalist, a Carnatic vocalist, so South Indian classical style of singing, a mridangist, which is also a South Indian percussionist, a violinist, also playing in the Carnatic form, and a keyboard player for a new composition for this production. So I was able to compose a whole 20-minute segment that hasn't been heard of before, so I'm really excited to share that with everybody on stage. So I'll be, I just got the final draft for it, so it's really exciting and it sounds really fun. So I'm really excited to start choreographing for it right away. And it was really cool working with the vocalist because not only was he a singer, he was really well versed in also playing the drum, but we had a different percussionist. But he was so well versed and he knew exactly where things needed to go, so he was able to guide the rest of the ensemble. So the vocalist, not only did he sing, but he was able to help me put the structure of the composition together. So he had a very good knowledge of what needed to be done and what needed to be researched in order for us to have a piece that would make sense, especially because our audience is not going to be predominantly Indian. So it's going to be a segment that's going to be really easily understood by my audience. And then I also had the experience of working with my teacher's teacher and finding and creating fabrics like these. So this is like a little hint of what the costumes are going to be looking like. So we got to pick out a bunch of fabrics and see kind of what would look good. And I worked with a personal tailor as well to find the best unisex costumes and how they should be stitched. So we drew everything out. This was like the first draft of the outfit that we had. So this was the first thing he stitched, and he showed me, he put it on me, and he's like, okay, what do you think this looks like? What needs to be edited? So yeah, so we're just playing with the concepts of, red, yellow, and orange, but we still wanted it to be as traditional as an authentic Indian Bharatanatyam costume, but we also needed to make it easily, in case I wasn't able to have enough, male dancers or female dancers, how can we make this a unisex costume without it being too complicated to alter? So this is what we came up with, and we're going to be probably just putting a different bodysuit on the inside, so anybody can just kind of wear all the pieces on top of it. And yeah, so this is how the music and costume design went. And some other experiences that I've also had, I had the opportunity to work with a photographer and makeup artist for a photo shoot while I was in Chennai. So we had I think a 4-hour shoot, and we went to this apartment, and he took us in there and he just did all these different backgrounds and everything. And the makeup artist was really cool to work with too, because he was teaching me different ways to do my makeup. And I've always thought of it, there's only one really set way of how to do Bharatanatyam makeup, but he told me and taught me a bunch of cheat methods on if you're working with a bunch of people, oh, how are we gonna get through 8 dancers for your thesis, how are these things that you can do? So he showed me a lot of methods on how to do the makeup like this, but also simplify it in a way so it's easier for other people to learn it as well. So I really appreciated that. And then as for performance experiences, before I left, I did have the opportunity to present with an ensemble in India as well. I got to work with a whole group of senior artists that were working under my teacher's teacher. And then I also had the opportunity to take back some of those pieces and present them in Canada, but I had the opportunity to do them live in Canada. So I got to work with a percussionist, a violinist, and a vocalist. The vocalist was from Texas, and she was kind of last minute, but she was able to be there in town and work with us within 2 rehearsals to sing for me. And then the percussionist and violinist are actually 2 really good friends of mine. So they were able to kind of sub in, and we were able to do a live presentation for an outdoor Hindu Heritage Month. So the month of August is considered Hindu Heritage Month now, federally, I guess, in Canada. I don't know if that's the same thing here, but we're able to bring different Indian classical works and we were able to present them outdoors. So it was a really nice day, so we got to do the presentation outside, which was really cool. So I have a little snippet video, if I can play, of the performance that I did.
சொல்வது போல் தோணும் அசைந்தாடும்
So you guys kind of get to see the kind of movement I'm working with. So I'm hoping to present my thesis production at the BFA MFA thesis productions happening in March here. So I also hope to bring this production back to Canada and working with the whole team out there as well. So everybody's all welcome. Does anybody have any questions?
First of all, a great round of applause for you. Yeah, we have about 5 minutes for questions.
What in your early or young age made you choose this form of dance? Like, how did you become so intrigued by it that you devoted this much time?
I think for me personally, growing up in a country where it's really hard to find like so many resources about like your culture. So my parents like immigrated here, so they would always tell me about things from back home that I never would understand. So I'd be like, well, we don't have that here, so why should I resonate with that? Like kind of, so I've always had that kind of mentality, but the more I think about it, it's like, oh, that's a part of me that I just don't know. And I feel like a way that I was able to really understand my roots was through dance. It was just one element of my culture that I was able to really connect with, because I was always artistic and musical, but I never was able to find something that connected me back to India, and I feel like Indian classical dance did that for me. So I was able to really work with my teacher, who gave me a whole new, I guess, experience by doing that, and I understood maybe my family a little better, understood my culture a little better, and I think I did that mainly through dance. And I think if I wasn't able to do it through dance, I don't think I'd be as connected personally. And that's just my experience, and it would be different for everybody. Yeah.
I have a question. Yeah. You talked about how you were trying to use forms based on older texts and things that really connected to ancient forms of dance. So my first question is, like, how do you find the dance form? How do you find the movement that's connected with the things in the ancient texts?
Yeah, so, and that's kind of why I went to India in the first place, because it's so hard to find that information just through literature or just Googling it, because as much as you Google, you only hear about it, but you won't understand the structures. So, and it goes to, like, even if my teacher learned it, it took me going to her teacher as well. So it's like, I think in a way, this like knowledge is passed down generationally, and the further you go, and me going to India and trying to find the roots there was most helpful for me. It was most effective because I was learning it from like, you know, these generations. And even at my dance graduation, my like, I guess 4th generation, so my teacher's teacher's teacher was my chief guest. So it's like these things are like passed down for years and years, and I don't think if I went back, I would have been able to be even introduced to that. And not just that, the musicians as well, they tend to have a really broad understanding of these scriptures before they even sing them, before they say them, and they have to do a lot of research with those, like, you know, scriptures. And that could also go back to, like, you know, maybe even going and talking to certain priests from temples and seeing, like, wait, what are these scriptures coming from? And they did their own research and, like, you know, really went into that for them, and then I get to learn that from them as well. So even if I Googled it and, like, I can say it, meaning wise, I was learning that from a whole different group of people. So yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. Another round of applause for Kavya.